Good evening, everybody. Well, good morning, I should say. We have run a little bit over because we were still looking and waiting for. Hold on, we're on live, mate. We're live. Just be careful, buddy. I'm just going to make sure we've completely messed this up this morning because we didn't even have a chance to get on board. We were doing so. Welcome all the watchers in the background. Me and Win have just been looking at the interview or trying to find some information on the interview. So we've run over a little bit, and unfortunately, because of my panic, I forgot to link us in straight away with the music. So apologies for everybody that wasn't expecting us just to jump on board. It was me. I pressed the wrong button. But you're all more than welcome. So
hello. I blame the Microsoft.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a bit crazy this morning. With everything that's going on, all the big companies are struggling. I assume
everybody's aware of what's going on.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to obviously do some housework. We'll just get that finished, and then we'll go into obviously what's happened this morning and what we believe is the reasons for the delay of the Eddie Howe interview. And obviously he's going to be bombarded with questions about England, I would suppose. So anyway, welcome to NUFC TV. Like I say, apologies for the way we've started this morning. It's a bit crazy and a bit hectic. But welcome to everybody that's watching across all the platforms. Thanks to all the mods working in the background as normal. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy the show, or even dislike if you don't like the way we started today, because obviously that just spreads the joy and the channel to NUFC supporters globally. Subscribe, it's totally free. Hit the bell for any future content. If you want to support the channel grow, make a small contribution monthly, and that just gives you a chance of winning prizes. Don't forget to check the webpage, NUFC Talk TV, for news and content. We update that when we've got something to update on, and it's a reputable source. We don't just put stuff out there that's not if it's just banter, we won't bother sticking that down, but we will look at the reputable sources and we will go from there. If you've got any questions that you want to throw our way, then please put a Q in front of the question, because then it just highlights it for us and it's easier to see when we've got multiple chats going on. Apologies if I don't mention everything that's in the chat. I may try and put it up on the screen if it's relevant. If it's not, then obviously I won't. But if you want to guarantee whatever you've put down there is mentioned, and for me and Win to have a discussion about it, then use the $sign. That will give you the right to have your chat mentioned. All new members and gifts that are given by members will be highlighted and thanked as we go. So that's
scan the QR code and get your merch.
Absolutely. So you've got the QR code in the centre of me and Win on the screen. So if you want to go ahead on that, then feel free. So like I said, it's been a bit crazy this morning because if people haven't noticed, Sky News, Sky Sports News, I should say, isn't available. And at the moment, if anybody's got Sky Sports News, has got a free chance of watching a little bit of the golf because they're broadcasting that this afternoon. I got up this morning and I thought I was still in a dream because I was watching the same reporter that was reporting last night, doing the same stuff, the same topics, and I'm thinking, what time is it? Have I got up too early type of thing? So yeah, that was a bit confusing, but I sent Win the link. It's a global issue that's affecting a lot of really big companies. And at the minute, it's a massive technical, what they call a blue screen blackout, where big companies, airports, Sky, are actually struggling to get information or obviously block any scammers, because obviously this apparent issue opens the door for any scammers in the background to obviously get on board and hold said companies to ransom. So anybody trying to hide anything, any details and stuff like that from these big companies could be spread wide open. So watch this space. So we're going to go ahead and do our usual bits of topic that we've seen. We're going to have a look at the lads out on training and things like that. obviously we're gonna have a bit of a discussion about some of the information that's out there on X, but we've not really seen. I mean, I've seen the thing about Darren Eales has been putting up about the expansion of the ground and things like that. But recently, over the last 24 hours, I've seen lots of links to a potential expansion that goes into Leesy's Park. So me and my mate, we're going to probably start on that if that's what you want. I mean, obviously you were having some of that on the screen as we went live, buddy. So have you still got what you've put down there?
Well, if you, I don't know if we can show the full YouTube thing that we were looking at, supposedly off screen. But if you,
exactly.
stick the still up that you had,
I am
and then I'll tell you what I know about it.
Right.
So Ian Toon Trader in the chat. Hello, Ian.
You
recovered from our last contra, Tom.
Well, I think everybody needs to recover. And anybody that's out there in the listeners' world, if you hear of the news being imminent, then give us a shout, because obviously now me and Win are doing other things. Now, the first thing that I saw was this. I couldn't actually work out what was going on, if I'm honest, because the thing that was being bandied about was Everton's ground linked with Newcastle United, and I thought, what's going on with that? It doesn't make any sense. So what apparently happened was a lot of our representatives have been to Everton to have a look at the way their new ground down, I think it's somewhere on the docks outside of Liverpool, has been developed, and the way they're developing it. And literally from that report, and again, I don't know how good these sources are, because, like I said, there's a lot of information out there that's very misleading. That information then turned to this coming up on the screen. Bear with me a second while I share that with you. I haven't looked at it. Sorry, my friend. I'm gonna have to do that again. There you go. Share that.
Well, what it shows, what the still shows, is that's it there, yeah. And that was building the new stadium on Leazes Park. Now, I don't know if you can remember, probably about 3 months ago, there was a YouTube site called Bondybot, and it's well worth looking at. If you haven't had a look at it, go to Bondybot, Bondibot, and he did a fantastic imaginative thing. It shows you the stadium being built, girder by girder in quick fire time. And one of the possibilities, which looked to be by far and away the best possibility, was what you can see there as it's halfway through, because what that solution meant was that by taking over just a small portion of Leazes Park, which is where that new stadium, Horseshoe, is there, it meant that the full stadium could be still used on match days. And then once that section of the construction was completed, the only bit of the stadium would need to close down to complete the project would be the Leazes end and a bit of the Milburn stand. You can imagine in your head where that would go. But I honestly believe that the guy that knows more about this than anybody else, who's done several videos on it, is Eddie from Tyneside Life. And certainly give his channel a look, because it's an excellent channel, which used to be devoted almost entirely to Newcastle United, but he's now kind of moved away from Newcastle United and does other stuff generally around the northeast. But he researched this and did more digging into every possibility than anybody I know. Now, as luck would have it, when Seller did the quayside light display, both me and Eddie were down at the Tyne very early doors to make sure we got the best vantage point, so we could put the footage that we put on, if you remember when we did it live on the night. And I was talking to him then about this particular video in particular, and he said that it has no validity in reality at all. It's just a kid who loves making videos. And he's very, very clever, as you'll see if you watch his video. You know, it's fantastic to watch the three options that are there. And this would by far and away the best one. But according to Eddie, there is no way on God's green earth that Newcastle will get permission to build on Leazes Park. So it's a non-starter as far as he's concerned. And I tend to, I mean, he's not the oracle, but I tend to believe, unless everybody, you know, the government, the local government, and everybody has a change of heart, that particular project ain't going to happen. And the only way we expand St. James's is up to about 65,000 maybe, by expanding the existing site and by not raising the height of the east stand, because you can see the Leazes Terrace in the foreground there, and apparently that's just simply a no-go area.
Yeah, I was exactly the same as you. I've followed Eddie for years, to be fair, and he seems very much on top of all of this. And obviously, there's lots of like money going around. Like the Reuben brothers will invest 300 million into the new stadium at the Leazes Park. The Saudis are going to invest 1.7 billion. Naming rights for the new stadium will go at 200 million a year to Aramco. Now, Aramco have been obviously spoke about for some time, haven't they? And obviously, you heard Darren Eales speak the other day when he did his interview, saying that obviously we've got things in the background, in the pipeline coming forward. And because of everything, of all the issues that's surrounding the ground regarding expansion, I cannot see how they can have permission to move that into the Leazes Park, especially where it is now, and then build, obviously, as we come to the end of the season, very much the way Spurs did their ground, start the expansion away from the ground and then integrate it as the season comes to a finish.
Well, you see, fortunately, Spurs moved to Wembley when they were doing there.
When they were doing theirs, exactly.
Demolished the whole thing, but there just isn't a stadium that the idea of going to Roker, people have mooted the idea of going to Roker Park. That just ain't going to happen. I don't think.
Anyway. No, neither do I. Kev, apologies, mate. We start at midday, but because we were still trying to find out if there was any information about Eddie's interview, we were looking everywhere, and we were running slightly behind. So I just pressed start without actually bringing any of our beginning titles up. So apologies if you missed the start, but we've only been on 15 minutes or so. But you're more than welcome, buddy. And again, apologies to anybody out there that's watching. It was my bad, and I do apologise. So, I mean, I'm with you. I do want to see. What's in the pipeline at St James's Park. Having watched a lot of the guys that have had architects there already in previous
they're waiting
shows.
for the report on there. That's
what I said.
Now, and
they've got to have all the feedback.
Darren Eales said they were expecting the full report this week or something. And
that was out there.
Significantly, what Darren Neal said this week was that when he was talking about the finances and our revenue, how it's gone up 30% per annum.
That's right.
That he's expecting 3 big deals this season. Now I'm pretty sure that that'll be linked in to Man City's APT transactions, that the lawsuit that they've got against the Premier League at the minute, which would, if, for example, if Aramco, we've got be a vacancy in the chat. Arsenal's naming rights are 10 million as part of a 60 million package. 50 front of shirt, da-di-da. If the Premier League are saying that we have to have fair market value, as they call it, which to me is just keep us out the big 6, then that'll affect how much we're able to get from them.
Yeah.
If Man City win that case, then of course we could get £200 million a season off Aramco for the stadium naming rights.
I mean, be it 50
million off Saudi for a stand and all this.
Yeah. I saw this yesterday. It looked like BS to me, with outrageous numbers for naming rights. It's exactly what we said. And it wouldn't be allowed. Now, from that, if you look at where have I put it? Bear with me a second. Here, he's also come back with 10 million for naming rights. Arsenal's naming rights are 10 million as part of a 60 million package, 50 of which is front of shirt. These ITKs are as good with numbers as Dr. Evil. That's typical, Beer.
No, but the point is, Beer, that's what Arsenal are getting at the minute. But therefore, that would be what we would be limited to by any APT regulations. They would say we cannot legitimately claim £200 million a season naming rights when Arsenal, who by any metric are a bigger club than we are only getting 10 million a season.
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm making. I think the reason they haven't come in already and didn't come in pre-June the 30th, which would, of course, bailed us out of the FFP trap that we were in at the time. The reason we haven't done it yet is because with this Man City lawsuit against the Premier League claiming restriction of trade, if they win that, then we can get 200 million off Aramco and 100 million off Saudi and 50 million off the Saudi telecommunications company. So that's the point.
I ain't Beers put down. we can call it the Mighty Win Stadium, and as payment, let them win the quiz. Bless him, love him.
He comes out with some classics on Wednesday.
But I mean, I know there's a lot of BS out there. There is, and I think everybody's looking at this as an easy fix. And I'm sure the guys would have, turned every stone, if you like, to try and find the best solution for us going forward. There's been obviously trying to increase the capacity of the stadium. There's been talks about obviously trying to put another extension on the one stand. I can't think which one it was now. Coming down towards the Gallagher, like expanding over the Gallagher and moving it across the street.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one big chunk we can get in. By raising the Gallagher to the same height as the Sir John Hall stand.
Yeah, and as I said, but you can't do anything still. But
by the way, there's a lot of complications doing that as well because of the metro running underneath.
Exactly, and this is what these architects are saying. It can be done,
and all that. The things that they're all looking at, which allegedly
it can. But you see that there was talk out there that it was going to be like a 30,000 seating capacity, and I can't see 30,000 even if you put another level on top of
an extra
what
30,
we've got already. Yeah, I mean, there's no way. There's no way.
Every single, if you forget about the East Stand, you know, and there's been dozens of them out there over the months now.
Yeah, I know.
Every single expansion plan, the absolute maximum, and this one involved digging up the pitch and making the pitch deeper in the ground so that you could get an extra, whatever, 5 or 10 rows of seats all the way around.
All the way around,
by digging down instead of building up.
Instead of going up.
Well,
exactly.
Digging down as well as building up. And even that was less than 15,000.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure the guy who was the architect
without
said something like
East Stand, without raising the East Stand, which of course would do it automatically, then you'd get your 80,000 easy. But without raising the East Stand, it can't be done.
Because I mean,
about 60ish, I would say.
Yeah. They said, he said the maximum that you could potentially do is 10,000 capacity.
Yeah, well,
that's a maximum.
Maybe it's 11.
Yeah,
would take you up to 63.
Because obviously,
what they would also do then is, because football today is all about match day revenue and corporate. So even if they were to raise the, even if they could potentially do 11,000, I think what they would do is do 10,000 with 1,000 or 2,000 of those being premium corporate seats, which take up more room in the background and all that sort of palaver. So that they can increase the revenue that way. So as opposed to increasing capacity, increase price per, average price per seat.
Yeah. Kev, that's what they were thinking of doing, is just going up. But all that would give them, apparently, because of the amount of space behind with the cantilever, is another 2 or 3 rows maximum. They're not going to be able to go up any further because how narrow the streets are there. And obviously the weight of the expansion. You could do a
side lane and oxygen masks. that might raise some revenue. By the time everybody gets to the top of the stairs, they'll all
have a breather that.
Buying oxygen.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a bit. It's probably the air's quite thinner up there as well. But I mean, like I say, until obviously we've got this information, I think what people hear is numbers, and then they expect that to be figures. I think where people got the 30,000 from was obviously of our sellout days. There's still 30,000 people asking for tickets, and I think that's different to the capacity that could be in the ground. There's no way you're going to get. Would PIF ever think about building a new stadium of 80,000+? Because obviously, once it,
I honestly, if they can't get permission to raise the East Stand, I think they won't have any alternative.
No.
And that to me that to me is the trump card that they're not using.
Yeah.
They should just turn around point blank and say, look, if we can't expand the East Stand, make the East Stand the same level as the rest of them, we're going to move out of the city. And if St. James's Park moved out of the city, it would kill the city centre stone dead, because there's so many businesses in the city centre that rely on match day revenue to keep them solvent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for me, you've got to look at it logically. Now I don't live in the city anymore. To me, it was always the nice part of coming over the bridge and obviously seeing the stadium there. I'm with everybody. I want to see the stadium still remain in the city. If they can get permission from the council to maybe move it slightly into Leazy's Park and then maybe, like I think it was Kev who said, create St James's where it is now into an extra park. So they've not lost much. The biggest problem is obviously, like Eddie from Tyneside Life was saying, there's a lot of Victorian Grade 1 listed elements there. I think the fountain and part of the bridge that goes across there. A lot of that, he says, you would never ever be able to get built on. So
that's right. But the point, yeah, and I think they would, the club would agree to that. But so you know, even if they insist on keeping Lees's Terrace, away, man, a fountain and a balustrade. Wow, how many Victorian fountains and balustrades is there in the country? It's a nuts. I would just go to they've done nicely. I would just go flat out stop. Incidentally, we had a question there from somebody.
Yeah, I was just looking at it now.
What's the tallest stadium in the world?
Well, no, he said potentially could be the tallest SJP if they went up another level.
No. Wait a minute, see if I can find it.
Kev Pryor, that one. SJP will be the tallest stadium in the world, perhaps.
No. That was somebody, and that was Kevin. Aye.
Yeah.
In fact, which stadium is it in the world is the tallest? Well, I can tell you, it's Sydney's Telstra Stadium, which is 58. It rises to a height of 58 meters, and has 14 stories. So we've got level 7 at St James's Park. Apparently, Sydney's Telstra Stadium goes up to level 14. So there you go. You learn something.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. I didn't realise that. I was just going to give a quick look to see if there was anything come up on Eddie Howe's interview, but still nothing. So I am just going to refresh that page.
Well, Sky Sports News is still showing the goal.
Still showing it nothing at all there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over to some of the chat, because obviously everybody's getting a little bit frustrated. Harmeet, welcome, my friend. Less than 4 weeks to the season starts, and pre-season starts in a week. Well, pre-season, I don't think it's a massive rush, and I'm certainly not worried about it. If we get players beyond that, because I think what we can't afford to do is have another season with like Tonali, where we rushed him in and without doing all the homework on him if we could. So for me, I'd rather them get the right player in at the right price rather than being, took to the sword just for buying's sake. So yeah, I understand the frustration, but and like I say, it's always the same crap every window. I understand there's lots of frustration out there. More and more, I am the only one feeling frustrated.
Not even frustrated. I have got every confidence in the hierarchy at the club, and especially now we've got Paul Mitchell in, that, what needs to be done will be done.
Will be done, absolutely. Now, there was...
take your time, just calm down.
So obviously there's been a lot of talk about goalkeepers and obviously goalkeepers coming on board. We've got 5 now, and obviously now we understand that Schmeichel has now signed for Celtic. So Dubravka's potential move to them has gone awry. Now there was I heard this morning that there was a young lad that's now been given professional contract. I'm trying to think of the lad's name now. I did want to bookmark it on X. I saw it on X this morning, but unfortunately I skipped over it because I was still trying to look for Eddie Howe stuff. But he's only signed for the academy. It's not going to affect us, and like I say, it's not something that I think we need to worry too much about. There's definitely now a pattern for a lot of professional clubs, especially Premiership clubs, and I'm not going to say it's across the board now, but Premiership clubs, nearly all of them have 4, I would say professional, rather than first choice keepers, because I have to watch my words, but there are 4 professional keepers in the ranks. Now, 2 of ours will be very lucky to see, or Don the gloves. I do think Oddie was going to be our backup to Pope, and I do think Dubravka will find a new club. But it does look a lot, it does look very top heavy. Beers come back with a classic on that picture we put up. That looks like a Southgate stadium where there's only used half the pitch. Typical Beer.
Get on this stage, son. Get on this stage.
What I do see in a lot of the chat these days now is like what Kev's here. It's so much for me thinking that Paul Mitchell would be quicking things up. Perhaps it wasn't Ashworth holding things up; it was Eddie. And these are the things now.
What's holding what up? What's holding up?
Well,
it's like what's the rush, man? What's the rush?
Yeah.
6 weeks yet.
Look, Ashworth has gone to United, and look at the business that they've done so far. Quick seal delivered. What the F are we doing? It's just frustration because obviously people want to see things. Oh, here we go. Tigers in straight away. Just want to say, are you doing in this window? Why haven't you gone for our targets or put bids in? Season starts in 4 weeks, pre-season. When are the players going to be here? Eddie, ready. Come on. We've just got to have a little bit of faith. And these guys will be working their socks off in the background to get the right players in. And if it doesn't work, then, like I said, this is his big day today. This is his big season. And I think, from the aspect of that, we've got to be right in the signings that we bring in. And, we've spoken about it before. I can see a minimum of 3 players coming in. But it won't, like I said, it won't be every, all together. It'll be a case of bringing them in slowly but surely. Now, Todibo, now we were talking about this behind the scenes in the green room. According to the reports, I mean, these are only reports, and again, we've seen nothing because there's certain individuals say it's BS. There's lots of people saying there's some obviously. There's some meat behind this. For me personally, I don't think you'll get any business from Nice because of Ineos. And we've already discussed this because there's a report out there that when we went, or our representatives went to watch Todibo, I think it was Rennes we saw it was linked with. It was Rennes versus Nice game, I believe. And we obviously asked about his availability. It was categorically said no. He's not available, and yet now there's a potential for him to go on loan to West Ham with a potential buy.
Just about done.
Yeah, with a potential buying or a sign at the end of it worth 26.8 million. But I believe now it's still up to the player. I think the player has to agree terms, and I think everything else is agreed apart from the player as of yet. Or from what I've seen this morning so far, hasn't agreed. So, like I said, I understand there's frustration out there. There's lots of people still want to see some movement in the transfer window. We've still got links to. It's just gone out of my head. Who's that other one we were linked to?
Malik Chowa.
Malik Chow, I believe, is virtually a signed, sealed thing.
Done deal as far as
they've just got to iron out the bits and pieces. That's right. But that wasn't the one.
Care of. Jonathan that wasn't the one. Is being heavily linked.
No, there was a centre midfield I saw as well.
Juventus have apparently offered Chiesa to us. So, but again, just take your time.
Yeah, exactly. Iron in who's driving. Drive safely, my friend. Yeah, exactly. From my aspect, I don't think there's a lot. There's going to be a lot of movement come when they're ready to move. But at the minute, I think what they're doing is what we said before. They've moved to Germany to obviously highlight, cross the T's and dot the I's, and then potentially move and ask these players about their availability or the clubs for the availability. I think what we see a lot in the news is what both me and Win have alluded to in the past is they don't tell you who they're going for. These are just leaks, potential red herrings. It may not be any of these guys.
Who had heard of Bruno Guimaraes before we signed him?
Well, that's what we said before, isn't it?
I hadn't. And out of the blue, we'll get this guy. You go and watch a few videos on him and you see how fantastic he is. And, he's been fantastic. Who knew anything about Sven Botman before we signed him? Who knew anything about Isaac before we signed him? Not a lot of people. Hand on heart, you probably didn't. And they just came out of the blue. And that's exactly what I expect to happen again. I don't have any worries. I think the money is there. And we've got the right people in place to get the right talent. It's just, there'll be it'll be like a swan. At the minute, we're sailing gracefully along, but underneath, those little feet are working like Billy O.
Like clappers, yeah.
For to get the deals done.
I mean, Alan McMurtry's he doesn't want the stadium.
There was never going to be any big deals done until after the Euros and Copa America anyway.
No, exactly. Alan McMurtry says he doesn't want the seats any higher. Players look like ants if you're stuck up there. Well, it's true. It makes it really hard. Ian, CR65, welcome, my friend. Surely the club, City Council, Freeman and friends of Leesy's Park have to come together to find a solution. Otherwise, they risk the club moving out of the city. Well, and it's exactly what you just said, isn't it?
That's Ian. I'm saying just forget the nice from now on. Just say, look, here, this is what's going to happen, right? We're going to build, and bear in mind the sort of complex that they could build. It could have a metro line extension going to it. It could be within easy access of the airport. They could build hotels, a conference centre, and make it an international conference centre. They could surround the ground with their own outlets. So if you like what they're doing at the Stack, and that means every penny that's spent, with it being out of town, people would be arriving there and they would have nowhere else to spend their money except in club premises, of franchised operations who are indirectly paying the club.
Yeah.
It would be a huge money maker for them.
It would,
and if
absolutely.
they go and stick that, they could have a women's stadium, they could have the whole training complex there, the whole shebang, just like Man City have done. And if they go to the city council and say, right, we'll either get what we want or up in sticks and out of here, the outcry would be phenomenal. Thousands of jobs would be lost in the city centre, and it would be more of a ghost town than it is already.
Yeah,
apart from a couple of sections of the town, except on match days, they're absolutely dead. The only time the town is full is on a match day. Even on the weekend, on a Saturday, for busiest shopping day you would imagine, a Saturday. Even on a Saturday during the summer, the only area that's busy is kind of, you can draw Grace Street, Grace Monument, Blackett Street, Eldon Square, Northumberland Street. Everywhere else is dead. On a match day, everywhere is heaving.
Exactly.
In fact, we did just a little snippet on one of the shows we did in the week about it was in the Premiership, the grounds with the most pubs within 15 minutes walking distance. In Newcastle, the nearest one was Wolverhampton Wanderers. They had 52, I think. And bear in mind, in Wolverhampton, if you've ever been to Molineux, there's only 2 pubs where they allow away visitors, away supporters. We had 131 pubs within 15 minutes of St James's Park. I guarantee If Newcastle moved out of town, you'd be lucky if you had 20 within Newcastle city centre, because those other 100 pubs rely on match day revenue to keep them going for the rest of the year. They take over the rest of the year, and it's match day revenue that makes them profitable. And if Newcastle threatened to, I think all they would need to do would be to put in an outline planning application for a 50-acre site at Ponteland or Woolsington or somewhere near the metro line. And the club would say, right, okay, build up the stand. On you go. There's a bit of Lees's Park.
I'm just going to do some of the start, buddy, while we are just going, because obviously I don't want to get too far behind. Kun Bob, Thailand, tea time here, guys. Well done.
Right.
And there was
the reason I start that one is Thailand tea time show. If you're in Thailand, Kun Bob, scan the QR code on screen here, go to the website and leave a message on the website with your contact details, and we'll get you on the worldwide show that we do once a week for supporters from all over the world.
Yeah, that's Wednesdays.
So it might be changing, but it's normally on a Wednesday, and it's kind of breakfast time, your time. But
early breakfast time.
We change the times to suit the guests, depending on where they are on the world.
Where they are, exactly.
But get on. We'd love to have you on the show and tell us what it's like to be a Toon supporter in Thailand.
Yeah, in Thailand, absolutely. You're more than welcome to join us there. And that's why we had a question earlier about why don't you call it the afternoon show? Because it depends on where you are. Now, the lads who obviously set this up, our mate Chris, who's obviously the founder member of NUFC Talk TV, and he's been on the shows multiple times. Obviously in America, it's early morning. I mean, really early morning. So it was called the breakfast show for a reason for them, and it's just moved over to us. Now, yeah, we do just pass that into the PM, but hey, it's what we pick up from the breakfast. Any news, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yeah, I'm going to say for him it's his breakfast.
Anyway, and if I get up till 12 o'clock, normally I have to get up early on a breakfast show, dear.
Yeah, but that's what we do. That's why we've called it the breakfast show. One, obviously in America where it was originally designed, it's breakfast time, but we called it the breakfast show because it's the breakfast news that we pick up to give to you guys. So just to clear that, the lad's name, the other goalkeeper that we've just signed on a 2-year professional contract is James Taylor. Thanks, Ian. I know you guys would never fail me.
I've seen fire and I've seen rain.
Yeah. Kun Bob, we're trying to buy higher quality players, and it takes longer. If anyone we really wanted was available, we'd act. We went for Elise, so we were clearly paying attention. Yeah. And that's exactly right. I think that they are looking for the right player to suit Eddie's style of football, and that's something that we need to be a little bit aware of. And here he is, the man himself. The American Mag reacts. We need to improve the squad. At minimum, these new guys, if we want to get them, won't have a proper pre-season. Listen, I keep saying it. I don't think you see the true player until they've been at the club for at least half a season anyway, especially when they're trying or they're getting used to new tactics, new management system, things like that, new individual players. So, yeah, I agree. The earlier you get them in, the more they get to know the people around them. That is absolutely 100%. But I also think, like again, I always go back to Anthony Gordon, who was our player of the season last year. When he come in January, it took him half a season just to get up to the flow. He did have the odd good game, but he wasn't there every game. Hence, he kept on getting substituted. And obviously, we saw 1 point. He was so frustrated with his game. He had a bit of a miff with the manager. So, like I said, you've got to be patient. Even when they come in, they may not hit the ground as the player that you expect them to be, because they'll need to adjust to Eddie Howe's way of playing. If it's still Eddie Howe at the start of the season, that's still to be listened to. Niall, welcome, Niall. Juve really want to get rid of Chiesa. Yeah, exactly. Really want to get rid of Chiesa. I would be suspicious about that. Mate, I would, if I had the chance now, I wouldn't bring him. It depends on the price. No, not for me. 15 million.
20 million, that's talking.
Well, like I said, there's a reasons why that price has come down. I know he's only got a season left on his contract.
And he's had a row with a manager, apparently.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you've only got to look at how available this lad is throughout the season. So, for me, is it worth the risk? I don't know, if I'm honest with you. 15 million, then I'd take a punt, because you could potentially, I mean, and he should be at his prime. Now, if he can come to us and we can stop, very much like Wilson, and we can correct some of those injuries, then great. We're on a win-win. But I think there's a lot that we have to ask questions about regarding his price for a real quality name that he brings with him. So for me, I'd be questioning whether what's behind the scenes. But it's a nice question to have.
It's his injuries that are the worry. I mean, he was out every other month last season. He was out for one long spell, and it was all different injuries. But the bottom line is, for 20 million, I think you can take a gamble. You know, he wouldn't be. I wouldn't class him as the marquee signing. As I said before, if we could get him for 20 million, if we can get Howe in for 30, 40 million, whatever we're going to pay for him, and then if we can get Jonathan David in for 30 million, and then we'll want to sign then a proper right winger, and then would
Chiesa come to be? By the way. Yeah, but would Chiesa come to be, that second right winger? That's what I'm saying.
You tell him that in the negotiations when if he doesn't want to come and fight for his place, well, we don't want him.
He's not the player, is he? And that's the thing, isn't it? It's the right attitude as well. And I think people have got to understand that. What you don't want is, what's happened at other clubs, Ronaldo, United, all these other players who dominate the dressing room, thinking they are above the team. And I think that's something else that needs to be taken into consideration. Kev Pryor, I knew about Isaac.
By the way, still got the golf on Sky Sports News. So
I don't think this news interview will be out anytime today.
This is some sort of bug that's going around if Sky and airports and like if they can't fix it, they're saying it isn't a cyber attack.
No, it's strange though, isn't it?
Strange. I think it's strange how they're still broadcasting, live the golf.
Yeah.
So why should it just be the studio?
I think it's more. I think it's like Sky News. You can go to Sky News, and that's on. That's working absolutely fine. So I'm like you. I don't know why it's Sky Sports News that's happened. I don't know why it's just hit certain parts of the big companies. Some of the airports. It's not all of the airports. It's just certain parts of the airport. Now, like I say, I don't know that much about technology, so I'm not going to just go out there and say, yeah, it's this, that, and the other, because I haven't got really a Scooby-Doo. Kev Pryor, I knew about Isaac before he signed, especially when he didn't know who Gary Lineker is during Euros 2021. There's always going to be, once the clubs, and don't forget, the agents working behind the scenes. Hang on,
just on that, can you shove that one back on again?
Oh, I've just cleared it.
It didn't matter. Whoever it was. Sorry, I didn't catch it.
It was Kev Pryor.
All right, Kev. You're saying you knew about Isaac before we signed him. How long before we signed him? Like a week? 2 or 3 days? Because I didn't know. I follow Newcastle avidly. And I didn't know anything about Isaac till almost till the medical was done.
Medical, yeah, exactly.
Because prior to that, and good old Fabrizio Romano had kept me well informed. Prior to that, all the talk was about us signing Nunes. And then Liverpool got him. And Liverpool got Nunes, and 2 days later we got Isaac. It's the same with
Exactly.
Bruno. All the talk before Bruno was about signing Paqueta. And it was Paqueta, and then Bush would get Bruno. And it was the same with, who was the other one? I'll think of it. But there was somebody, all the smoke screens were going out for somebody else. And we ended up getting somebody else. I'll think of who it was in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to go on to this. Paul Guys, hi Gary, mighty win. Would you keep Miggy for squad purposes or sell him for a good price? I would sell him. Now, for me, the problem with Miggy is he's had one good season, really. You can't say he's had one good season in 3 or 4, because Miggy's a type of player that works for the team, works Eddie's way. Now, I feel he has reached his pinnacle now with Newcastle, and I believe Eddie sees him that way as well. I may be wrong, because we all thought like Sean Longstaff would be one that may be going out the door. Callum Wilson may be going out the door because of a price. But I still strongly believe that Miggy will be the one. I'm not going to say the only sale, because I'm going to obviously eat my words if I say that, because I never saw Anderson going. But I do believe that Miggy will be the one that goes. He'll be the one that disappears.
Thank you, Jake. Yes, that's right. That was the other one. Everybody had us after Barella, and then we signed Tonali out the blue. Yeah,
exactly. So from that aspect, I don't honestly see. I don't see any other player leaving yet, because Eddie wants Wilson to stay. Eddie wants Longstaff to stay, because he cannot buy. I'm not about Longstaff. I'm on about Wilson now. He cannot buy a centre forward for the money he'll get for him to give us the same amount of goals that Wilson gets. And I understand the reasons why he will keep Wilson in the club to see his contract out. But it doesn't stop us going and getting a third striker to give Isak a complete rest, so he doesn't even have to be on the bench. Yeah. And I think that's something that we have to do now going forward as a big group. We need at least 2 quality and 1 stand-up player in every position to be able to fully rotate the squad, especially when we get into Europe.
That for me is what I want Eddie to improve at this season. Squad rotation. Now, you can argue, everybody complained about him not rotating last season, but you can understand why he didn't, with the stupid injuries that were had in Tonali's situation, etc., etc., etc. This season, there should be no excuse for that. So he has to. That's the one area of Eddie's performance, if you like, that I want to see improvements at, especially with the start of the season being as easy as it is for us.
Hello, McMurtry. I have watched the Tyneside Life Guy, and according to him, the council and lady chairman were on Toonside, and what might help is Leesy's Park lot have no money compared to when they tried in the mid-90s. Like I said, I do think we've got to be a little bit more, like Wynne said originally, we've got to give a little bit more strength to the situation and what Newcastle Football Club bring to the city. And it's not just match days anymore. There's a lot more tourism to the club now. There's a lot more business around the stadium. It's constantly thriving throughout the week now, not just on match days, because of people from outside the city actually coming into the city. Now, listen, the city's always had amazing nightlife. That's been there since since I was a kid. I remember like Tuxedo Junction, the Princess, and all that. I had lots and lots of fun in all those places. So from that aspect, you can't ever knock the nightlife there. I'm on about during the day. There's a lot of towns, a lot of cities now that are like ghost towns, as Wynne said, because there's just not an attraction in the city centre anymore. Foxy, thank you so much, matey. You are the best breakfast show on YouTube, the dynamic duo. Thank you, my friend. Michael's put down, I hope Chiesa has not got a betting issue with playing in Italy. Me too. I'm hoping they've done a lot to support him. If it was Federico's dad, Enrico Chiesa, I would have took him at Newcastle. He was a top player, and that's the trouble. I think people remember the old Chiesa and expect the young Chiesa to be the same.
No, the young he was one of the top wingers in Europe when he was 22, 23, 24. He was fantastic, man.
But what I'm saying, I know you keep on saying he's the best. He's still a type of player for me that to me it looks like when the times get hard, Wynne, he doesn't want to play, and that's what I said, and that's what you get with a lot of attitudes. Yeah, I want a player who's going to come. It's not just about talent, mate. It's about wanting to get to grind down a result. Because in the Premiership, it's a totally different league to the Serie A. Totally different league. There's only maybe half a dozen teams in Serie A that are really going to get at you. In the Premiership, you're going to have a fight for every team that comes your way. Even down the relegation guys. They come to your ground. I mean, look at what we were like last year.
I agree. Yeah, look at what we did. 8-0, 5-1. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Biggest aggregate ever in the Prem. How are they?
Yeah, that's one side. Look what we did against Luton. Yeah. We got a point. So, like I said, you need to grind things down. Craig Lee, Chiesa is right-footed. Pointless signing. Gordon, Barnes, Murphy, all right-footed wingers. And there's a point to that. The only problem I see...
Barnes stays on the left, though.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why he said he's the right-footed wingers. Now, the only thing I see with bringing...
He's a proper right-footed winger. He actually puts crosses in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said. That's what we're looking for. And what we said before about Murphy. Nobody realised what Murphy contributed to the team until we put the statistics up there. And it's a massive difference. This is why I'm worried.
Because, again, we've been linked with Somerville. Again.
Yeah. Another left-sided player.
But he doesn't play anywhere but on the left wing. And the only possible reason I can see you're spending big money on Somerville is if they intend on switching Anthony Gordon to the right wing.
Yeah,
now,
because
you would automatically assume that if you put a right footer on the right wing, he's going to be more effective than he would be on the left wing. However, we have seen with our own eyes that when Anthony Gordon plays on the right, he doesn't have as much impact on the game as he does when he plays on the left.
Yeah.
So,
you see, for me,
I think Anthony Gordon was so good last season. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just that's one bit of the jigsaw that's working perfectly. So leave it alone, please.
Yeah. You see, what I don't want to see is what we did with Gordon last year. When the likes of Isaac comes off, we play Gordon through the middle, we bring Barnes on, but Gordon stays on. He plays through the middle. And to be fair, as well as he did in the Euros, under 21s, going as the main pinnacle man, it's totally different in the Premiership. You don't get the time and space like he did at the under 21 level. And he was non-existent being our target man up front for the times that he was playing there. Even when he was moved over to the right wing, if they brought Barnes on and Gordon went over to the right wing when Miggy or Murphy came off, he wasn't as effective because it's very difficult to change your mindset from playing one to the other. You can do it during the game where you will just try and, if you're being man-marked, if you're like Gordon is now an elite player, I'd class him as, especially for us, he will be obviously highly marked this coming season because he's shown his true colours now. What you can do in that situation, and what you see a lot of the times, is, as you saw Spain do with Yamal, is move across. So Nichols and Yamal will just move. And what that does is make your defender, what do I do? He's questioning what I do as a player. Do I come with you so far and then drop back into the player that's come across now? Because what you get then is a totally different winger. You don't get an inside forward, you get a natural winger on their natural feet. So I want to see, if we're going to do this year, I want to see it happening during the game. I know it has been tempted, but we've never had a right-sided player move over to the left and be successful. I think I've seen it once when Anderson played and they tried to interchange, but it wasn't very successful at all, and it didn't last very long during the game. And I can't remember what that was against now. But Eddie Howe did try.
Can I just bring some breaking news? News at 12:53. The boss of cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike apologizes for the disruption caused by its software update.
Okay.
In an interview with NBC News, we're deeply sorry for the impact that we've caused to customers, to travelers, to anyone affected by this, including our companies, says George Kurtz. So it would appear that CrowdStrike, who are the cybersecurity arm of Windows, of Microsoft, are accepting full responsibility for this cock-up.
Yeah.
So it definitely isn't a cyber attack by Russia or China, which was being mooted, unless it's as part of a government cover-up to say, yeah. But anyway, CrowdStrike boss George Kurtz has said it's all our fault.
Well, it's nice for him to hold his hand up.
Software update. And how many times have you done an update on your computer, and when you go back in the next time, it's chaos?
Yeah, well, that's what they were saying. Now the defence network's down, that's when the scammers can come in and hold clubs up for ransom because they can get through these barriers, these doors. So just going on your point before, Craig Lee's put down, that's not true. We had a bid turned down for Isaac. Now, I'm going to make a point to this. I remember this, and it's exactly the same. If you remember, when we went for DCL, we actually put a bid in. James Trafford, we put a bid in. What Newcastle are very good at doing is walking away from the deal to make it look like we're not interested anymore. And that's exactly what they did with Isaac. They did put a bid in, you're absolutely right, but then they walked away from the deal. And it was only then that they decided to go back with a better offer, and that's what sealed the deal. Because at the time, there was no interest from anybody else for Isaac. So I agree with you, but there was a reason for that, I believe.
1301. We know what the issue is and have resolved the issue.
Oh, so everything should be coming back online.
How long will it take to get everything back up and running for users? It could be some time for some systems that just automatically won't recover. But it is our mission to make sure that every customer is fully recovered. That was at 1301. So fresh off the press.
Yeah, I don't know what Ian's having a go at you here. I don't know what you've been talking rubbish about. Finished driving for 10 minutes, so jump back on.
I talk nothing but rubbish according to Ian. That's not a problem. Me and him have some good.
So Beer Vikings come in. Eddie has to stay. He wants people to stay to manage locker room morale. Absolutely, and that's what you've got to think. I mean, you have got to make sure that we're not just keeping people for keeping sake. We've got to have the right core within there. Like I said, the backroom staff now are set up. The deal is now in situ. We've got some players come in now, and now people are knocking that. And that's what I said. We've not seen any movement. We've already had 2 goalkeepers come on board and a full-back stroke centre-half. And we would have had another one if he didn't decide to go to Chelsea. Now, yes, them was freebies and, you know, a small fee. But it's like I said.
Who doesn't like a freebie?
Exactly. You know, what would he have cost us if he wasn't a freebie? 20 mil? You know what I mean? If he was down to his last year? And that's what I'm saying. You know, you can't knock the business that we've already done. It fills the void that we had got, I suppose, some cover. So I think, you know, what we've done already has been, it's been okay, not exceptional, but it's been okay. I want to move over a little bit if I can, because obviously now we've seen the lads training in Germany, and they've come up with the brand new top that was leaked some months ago now of the magpie feathers. So this is the brand new training top that the lads are, as you can see, are in. And some people will, it's like Marmite, I suppose. Some people will like it, some people won't. I'm not over hammered by it, but I understand. Yeah, I understand the reasons why they've done it with the magpie feathers and stuff like that. It looks okay. But apparently this is being released July the 23rd for anybody that's interested in purchasing this style of kit. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit better so you can have a bit of a
hello.
Where have I gone off?
No.
Yeah, I see. What's happened? Have you got any news?
Yeah, Sky News is back on. Sky Sports News is back on.
Okay. For some unknown reason,
whether it's going to be one of the first items or
I don't know, matey. I don't know. But yeah, so there you go. That's the new feather feature that's come out. What's this? Coon Bob, but more of a viewer than a participant, lads, and often from the pool. A view nobody deserves.
I think that's Coon Bob from Thailand.
Thailand, yeah.
Get on and come
exactly,
on.
It was.
But he's more of a viewer than a participant. That's fine,
It's
Bob.
nice to be involved in the chat. Thanks, matey. We have no issues with you coming on board, though, mate. If ever you want to give your views over the TV, like I say, it is a fans channel. It's for you guys. Like I say, we give the morning news. We're on 7 days a week in the evening, doing different parts. We do the worldwide. We do all sorts. So you're more than welcome to join us at any point.
Craig Lee. Ex-Tooney, this is just on the banner on Sky Sports News. I mean, ex-Tooney Adam Armstrong has just signed a new 3-year deal with Southampton. Yeah,
see, there's still a lot of negativity out there. When we snubbed Pedro and he went to Brighton. I don't think we snubbed Pedro. I think, unfortunately, we weren't willing to offer what Watford wanted at the time, and there was something again. I know the deal, and I'm not too sure of the price now at the top of my head, but I know there was something regarding the gun was held as a ransom note for this lad, and I know there was a better deal that was given to Brighton for the same player. So I think there was a lot more to that than we saw on screen, if I'm honest. But like I say, there's so many people out there that say are in the know. So I'm not sure. But like I say, I don't think we should panic about what we've got at the moment and what we haven't got. I think it's going to be the right time when we buy the right player, and I think that's what you've got to understand. Ian Two Trader, all right, beer, blah blah blah. So he's just saying hello to everybody. Niall, Ian's blessed. We ain't getting Dubs keeper, so Ian's happy that we've not got Dubs going to Celtic anymore. Because I know they've just bought 2 keepers. I know there's Schmeichel going on a 1 year, but they've also signed a second understudy to him as well. Winnie the Pooh never lets us down talking the Pooh. There you go. What's that one there? But yeah, it's not all about talent. It's about attitude and work rate. Hence our Paraguayan Prince Miggy. And that's right. Like I say, you can go for all of the big names you want. It's not. Oh, what was that game that you was thinking about? Sinisalo. Who was that? Who was that about? Or was that just some internal? No, I don't know, because I've just seen a name up there, and I'm thinking, have you asked a question while I wasn't aware?
Yeah.
But
Yes,
obviously wasn't. No, it was Sinisalo, apparently. Niles was saying, and then Ian's put, that's the guy. So I'm not sure, or maybe I've missed something out in the
I
chat
think they
there.
must be talking amongst themselves and we've missed it.
So, Craig, again, we're looking for a left footer. Chiesa plays left wing. Yeah, we are.
Chiesa
If you
doesn't
look
play
at like we was talking in the background about what potentially could come our way. Now, obviously, there's rumours about Can Lee not being present at training during Paris Saint-Germain training. Now, again, people are going to jump on the bandwagon and link us with him. There's loads of people out there that will say, oh, that's the reasons why he's not there, is because obviously we've spoken to him. Now, from the reports that I read, and again, I can only go on what's in front of me as a news channel, is that he wasn't interested in Newcastle and PSG wasn't interested in letting him go. Now, again, whether that was a loan to buy, a loan for 12 months, whatever it was, I don't know, but from both parties, there was no interest of him going. Now, like I say, you can read into him missing training as much as you want. But for me, until, like we keep on saying, until they are waving the scarf above their head or holding the shirt in their hand, he's not a team player until something like that happens. All the speculation and everything else that we read from a lot of the sources, some of it's not a valid source, so we don't always talk about all of the potentials that have been shown out there. I've looked today, and trust me, we are going for so many players, and it is total rubbish. Some people out there are actually stating that we've signed players today. We signed players yesterday. No, there's been no mention anywhere. There certainly hasn't been any mention from Newcastle. So apart from stating the actual obvious that it's all ITKs that are just trying to get clicks on their screen, and that's all it is. Obviously, there's still a lot of talk about Eddie Howe, obviously coming to England, or going to England, I should say, if he gets approached. And I know a lot of the conversations out there would have been from him going, or potentially going, or becoming the England man. Now, I wanted just to put out to you guys Eddie's stats with us as we speak. He's had 125 games. He's won 62. We've drew 27. And to be fair, I think that number is really high. I think there's lots of draws out there that we should have had wins, but just couldn't hold out. We've lost 36 of the 125. So that's a PPG of 1.7 in all competitions. Now, for us, he has been an outstanding manager. And you can understand why he is linked with the top job in the country, being an England manager. And like we were talking about this last night on the channel last night, the fans forum, should he do it? Shouldn't he do it? Now, we were having a talk in the green room after the show, the four of us, and there's an argument for both sides, whether he goes, whether he stays. For me, like I said yesterday, I think it's Eddie's choice to refuse it. I think he will be the first person offered the job, and I think it'll be up to him to move it on. If you listen to the staff around the club, we've listened to Darren Hills, we've listened to Paul Mitchell now, both of them more or less give you the indication that they're a group moving forward, which seems to include Eddie. I'm still on the fence with this one. I think if the lad gets offered the job, I think it's his to turn down or accept, because, like I say, I think he is the main man now. There's lots of figures being mentioned. There's lots of numbers being touted, saying that he gets paid a lot more for us than he would do for the England role, which is completely correct. But it's a prestigious role. To be in the England manager is a very prestigious role. And would he ever have the chance to do it again? Yes, of course he would. if the trajectory of the club continues the way it's going at the moment, and that's growing, and that's him being in Europe every year, because it's only if that happens that his legacy will continue with Newcastle. If he has a really poor start to the season and we were mid-table halfway through, how many of you guys out there, and I mean, I've seen a couple already that are doubting the capabilities of this lad. How many of you out there will be shouting for Eddie's out, like we saw last year? So he's got a big choice to make this, and that's why this interview was very important, because he is going to be hounded by people in the crowd. All the press are out there waiting to give him a shout to try and get some information.
Which is basically why I think we should leave the issue alone until we've heard it, because that's gonna be the first thing on the question list. And Eddie will try and fend it off, saying, "I'm not here to talk about England. I'm here to talk about Newcastle United. We've got a season to prepare for, etc., etc., etc."
Exactly.
He says something, we know nothing, because, as you rightly say, it's entirely down to him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I was just putting it out there just to let you have a look at what he's done for Newcastle so far. You know what I mean? Because he has been an outstanding manager for Newcastle, and he will be hard to replace, because whoever comes, if he does take it, well, that's what I'm trying to allude to. If he does take the role, we've all said, we've got the ideal replacement with Pochettino and stuff like that. But don't forget, they are in styles, they'll be very different. And it'll take a while for our lads to get used to that style of football again. So you've got to take it for what it is. It's a question that, like you said, he does need to answer. But will it affect us? That's what I'm trying to say. If he goes, how much of an effect will that have on us going forward? That's the question I was going to ask you.
I know this is harsh. I don't think it'll have any effect, really.
Okay. So you're positive that the next manager coming in will continue?
Absolutely, yeah, because I think the manager that would come in would be Poch. And the two spells that Poch has had working with Paul Mitchell, both at Southampton and then at Spurs, before he fell out with Levy, were outstanding. That was when Spurs got the Champions League final, Southampton promoted and bringing through all of those young players, So I wouldn't be. In fact, whoever was brought in would do a job. But I want to see Eddie stay, and I want Eddie to be here. But I want Eddie to be our Alex Ferguson. Just a quickie, because while you were doing the Eddie thing, Bia Viking was saying Chiesa plays on the left wing. Well, that's his heat map for the season. I think that clearly shows he plays on the right wing.
He's played for Juve on the right wing all season.
Yeah.
And that's why he's been heavily touted, because, listen, I know he's a quality player. I'm not saying he's not a quality player. What I doubt is the fact that his availability. And if he's not available
for 20 million, you can take that chance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if Miggy goes though, mate, that's what I'm saying. Are we going to rely on Murphy being the backup to Chiesa? Because if you're looking for quality, and I'm not saying Murphy hasn't got the ability, because he proved last year, as he was top of the list for chance creation.
Because that staggered me, that when I saw those stats.
Yeah. And then you're still relying on, obviously, the chance creation to be put away by another member. That's not his fault. He's created the opportunity. It's up to other people then to take their opportunity, isn't it? But from my point of view, would you be happy? So if we had Chiesa, we got rid of Miggy, and the backup for Chiesa was still Murphy, are you going to be happy as that? That's what I'm saying.
No.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't be happy for Chiesa to be, if you like, the marquee signing.
Right. Sorry, I nearly choked on my smoke then. because it was a quick answer.
just purely because of his injury record. You know,
Absolutely.
I worry that the best ability is availability, as I've always said.
I've always said, absolutely. And that's one thing Murphy gives you, isn't it?
But as I've said with Callum, I would keep Callum.
Well,
Because you know that keeping Callum, even if you're only going to get 15 games a season, you're going to get 10 goals.
10 goals, minimum, yeah. I mean, to be fair, like I said, he should be giving them. Similarly
with Chiesa, if you only get 15 games a season, you're going to get 10 GA. But you've got to have somebody who's available.
Yeah.
We've got to buy a proper right winger who's better than anything that we've got. And as you say that, I mean, those Murphy stats blew my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And they totally blew mine because I never.
Because I use the eyes. yeah,
exactly. I've been looking at a couple of posts on here while you were chatting, actually. The first thing I need to do is say thank you so much to Ian Fleming for the gift of 5, being a member for 5 months. Thank you ever so much, matey, for staying with us. You have been brilliant behind the scenes as well.
From the birth almost.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Very much from the start of the
you were
company.
In the delivery room.
Indeed. So thanks ever so much, matey. You're a star as well because he works so hard in the background. And I saw something else that I was going to do. There you go, Ian Toon Trader. Got to go drive, lads. Love you, Win. You crazy old bugger. There you go. So it's nice to know that you've got a lot of love out there and affection. There's one from Craig again. We'd moved on Sociedad, came back to us and accepted the original offer, where Joe Pedro was about to sign for us. He'd done his medical. But there's, how many times have we said until they sign the contract, anything can change at the drop of a hat? And that's what I said. The problem with Joe Pedro, I say there's not a problem with Joe Pedro. There's never a problem with players, because I would love Joe Pedro to have been linked up to Newcastle. It just proved what he did at Brighton last year. He was outstanding, and that's what I said. The biggest problem is, though, if you've got a first choice, our first choice was obviously Isaac. We'd looked at Pedro because obviously there was a lot of movement around Pedro at the time. Pedro had come for the medical, as you quite rightly said, but he wasn't our first choice. When we then went and had a sneaky bid against Isaac, and it was accepted, Joe Pedro was no longer required. Now, for me, I would have wanted the two of them, because I still think Joe Pedro could have probably done a better job for us on the right. No, exactly. We couldn't afford them. Not at the time.
Which one would you rather have?
Oh, Isaac, any day.
Right. So, and here's the thing. The art of negotiation always, doesn't matter whether it's in football or anything else, is being able to walk away from the deal.
Yeah.
If you walk away from the deal, it's amazing how often whoever you're negotiating with will come back to you and say, hang on a minute, whoa, hang on a minute, and okay, we'll take it. Because it's all brinkmanship. Yeah. And unless you're prepared to walk away, which we've seen happen with PIF now on numerous occasions, that's the price. Take it or leave it. Off we go. Happened with Zoboszlai.
Yeah.
Okay, they reckon Liverpool paid a bit more than we were prepared to pay, but so be it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's it, isn't it? You have got to look at all these things from potential as well, isn't it? It's like, are you going to just leave your first choice because now somebody else is expected to sign for you? If the availability is there, you're not, are you? You're always going to want your first signing or the first option, because and like you said, who would I have wanted now? And I'm sure everybody in the chat still, and the 200 plus that are watching, would still say I would have had an Isaac over Joe Pedro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
No
like I
brainer.
said, I think we went out there and did the job that we needed to do. So I'm just going to put on here
We've just got
the
the
lads.
actresses just saying it's actually our 6-month birthday today.
Oh, congratulations! There you go. So
we
this is
we share a birthday with Trolls. Trolls is 50 today, and we are 6 months today.
we're 60.
There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly. Way. This is the lads out doing some shooting practice. Oh, I love that. Absolutely love this. I tell you something now, Ruddy looks good with his hands in basketball, I'm telling you now. Look at that, 300 trap. That's quality. They're having some fun out there, aren't they?
Yeah.
I love this. I think that's the beauty of our squad, the way we are at the moment. There you go. So I just wanted to show people that, because the question that we had the other day, that we were asking about some of the tabloids saying that they're obviously not. They're not together in the background. There's a little bit of animosity. There's arguments. There's unrest in the camp. Now, listen. I understand that the NUFC media, they're out there that are filming all this stuff. I'm going to show you fisticuffs in the dressing room. Yeah. They're not going to show people throwing pans and shoes at each other. But what it does show and what it does address is the fact that there's a lot of camaraderie amongst the lads, and I find that so warming. Oh, John, there you go. Well, thank you so much, John, for your, is it Norwegian?
59 Norwegian krona, I think.
Kronas.
But John,
so thank
if you're
you so
in Norway, man, get on the world.
Yeah, exactly. You need to
be... Get on the QR code, get on the website, drop your details, and we'll get you on. You've always got plenty to say.
Absolutely.
All you need is a smartphone.
That's right. You just need to come on and say hello. It doesn't matter what you have. Let's have a look at this one, because this is the lads that were in the back room, looking at all of the old kits that they've got. I mean, I love this, the way they're keeping all of the retro kits. All the lads have got the special gloves on, so obviously not to put any oil onto the clothes. Amazing bits and pieces there. You can see that blue one to the side.
The denim one.
The denim, yeah, absolutely, was one of my favourites. Next to it is my favourite. That one there is what I've got still today, and I love it.
And they were two of my least favourites.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It is funny how we've all got this, different opinion on styles and stuff like that. And I think that's another thing, isn't it? That makes it. I suppose it makes everything. It makes the club grow, because some like both me and you're a definite no on the magpie feathers. I'm on the fence. I'd like to see it up close and personal before I choose. But
you're the magpie on the fence, are you? One for sure.
I'm the magpie. Yeah, I am absolutely the magpie on the fence. Hello, if you like. There you go. And there was another one that I saw with the lads looking at the boots. And these are some really old retro boots there. The Predator and stuff like that. That's out there. And again, you look at how old do you think that boot is from that Crafties were holding there? That's got to be a few years old, isn't it?
Look at the size of the studs on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. That is. And again, I know this isn't what everybody wants to see all the time, but for me, you know, sometimes nostalgia, especially for the players, it just gives them a bit more of a connection to the club, and I think that's the the way I look at it. It's nice to have. It's nice to have that connection from the days gone by. So I love that. What you seen?
Excuse me. Update.
What's
Oh,
that?
this is fantastic. Worldwide global outage, right?
Yeah.
This is the headline. Microsoft suggests switching it off and on again. 15 times.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
For all those, dino techs.
Yeah.
The dinosaur technology.
Absolutely.
What do you, if something goes wrong and you can't fix it, what do you do?
Switch it off.
Switch it back
Absolutely.
on again. Hope for the best. It's amazing how often it works, by the way.
It does. It just resets everything.
And everything goes back to normal. And now Microsoft suggests switching it off and on again 15 times. Love it.
Excellent. I was just going to again put this one on. This is our good right back, or I suppose you can call him right back, centre back, Crafty, doing what he does best. Let me just put the music on.
It's amazing how you. Hey, mark you lad.
Oh, he's even got the finger in his mouth.
Without saying these words, it's light in the dark.
He's brilliant.
Try as I may.
Brilliant.
Oh, he's
Love
doing
it.
The old boys doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
I can never believe I wrote something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You do it best when you do nothing at all.
Do nothing at all. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I'm putting all this up, and I'm putting as much out there as I can, because I want to get rid of this crap, this anti-Newcastle players, as a lot of as I call it now, with all the threads out there that there's unrest in the background. So to me, you've got lads playing FIFA in the background. You've got him strumming away on his guitar. I'm trying to work out who was in the background. I was just trying to see who that was singing, because I'm sure it told you. Oh, Mark Gillespie, believe it or not. That was singing there. And there was something else that I was going to show you guys before I go any further, and it's somewhere down here. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to. I can't play that because that doesn't work for some unknown reason. Bear with me a second. I'm sure I've got it. Gone back to Simmons. I don't know why I've got Xavi Simmons still on there, because obviously we all know about that. Oh yeah, here it is. I'll just move this. I've got. I don't know whether anybody's seen this before. I'm going to present this because this is Foden having an interview with us, with the media.
Look so slated.
Doesn't say a lot, to be fair.
Great day today.
He looks a bit glum,
deserve
doesn't he,
it,
after these-
and
after
no
the
one
European
has the
Championship?
power to ruin it.
I mean, I'm not sure whether he's been tapped up by Newcastle to come and play. But there you go.
Sure. I think you've got two. You had two soundtracks going at the same time there, mate.
Oh, well, there was nothing coming up through mine, so I don't know. Well, he wasn't saying a word. Did you not see it was a cat?
Yeah. All right.
There you go. That was it. That was the easy.
What you gonna do with Foden?
Well, exactly. Well, if you had a look at a lot of the memes when England lost the cup, the Euro Cup final, there was a lot of memes out there that it was like Foden looked like a really sulky cat, and there was lots of cat faces put on his head, if you like, when he was storming off. I think it was one of the ones somebody had put, really clever one they developed, and he was being substituted off the park. And like I said, he didn't say a word throughout the whole Euros. He didn't mention anything. He didn't say anything. He just looked really sulky and downtrodden. So I just thought I'd put that on, and apologies if it didn't go down that well. And for those viewers that are listening,
for all of the people who are wondering about we're not signing anybody and all that, this day in 1980, Newcastle did make a signing. We signed Chris Waddle from Towlow Town on this day in 1980.
It's mad, isn't it?
Wouldn't it be nice to sign another Chris Waddle?
Oh, absolutely. And as daft it looks, it's Murphy's anniversary today. We signed him on this day in 2017. So happy anniversary to that guy who's still with us.
There's a lot going on today, man.
Absolutely.
You don't need an Eddie Howe press conference to get a show on the road.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm just looking at any of the chats in the background, and like I say, I'm not going to put everything up on the screen because a lot of it's banter between yourself. Foxy's put one here. Wouldn't be surprised if Howe tries to keep Miggy in the squad. Every manager he works for always complimenting his work ethics. Mitchell and Cole will be the ones trying to move Miggy on. Yeah, I agree. Oh, well done, Trolls. Thank you, my friend. I don't know who the memberships have gone for. I'm sure Chris will give us some information later. And anybody who's...
Chris, can you tell me who's got them?
Yeah. If anybody has received a gift, a gifted membership, then you know where it's come from. It's come from Trolls. So again, everybody that's been gifted, do me a favour. Just hit the like button, hit the subscribe, especially if you're new to the group. Because like I say, me and Win do this on a daytime, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at midday for any of the morning news really that's come our way. So we'll be doing this continuously now through the season. And on an evening, we do 7 shows a week. So virtually probably more sometimes because we double up because Chris has got a sister show now that's Football Uncensored, where we literally talk about, well, Chris talks about the Premiership. So not only about Newcastle, but he's got guests coming on from other teams, support other teams to talk about backroom, the board and everything else. So we're expanding as we go and we are looking at different things to try and keep it fresh. Because there's a lot of people out there that obviously wonder why we've got so many different names, because we've got certain stuff that it's different audiences. So it's still us, it's still the team that you see Monday, Wednesday and Friday, with the added of Chris on an evening, and on the Geordie show on a Saturday we have we try and make it strict Geordies. So we're encouraging new guests on there. So I believe Saturday tomorrow we've got your mate Colin coming on, and I believe Andy Bell may be available. So I'm hoping we'll have them two to discuss anything that's happened obviously in the next 12 to 24 hours. So it'll be interesting to see where we are with that. And like I say, we are expanding the show. We are trying to do different things. So if you've got any ideas, don't forget to give us hit the chat with them or leave a message so we can discuss it with you.
Right, here we go. Your 5 memberships, Trolls, went to South Links Toon, Geordie Toon for Life, Predator, Jimmy McKenna, and Peter Moyle. So
well done,
Peter
everybody.
Moyle, Jim McKenna, Predator, Geordie Toon for Life, and South Links Toon all got memberships. I don't know if that's my mate, Jim McKenna.
Oh, it could be, because you were talking about you were talking about him, weren't you? So guys, we are virtually at the end of the show. Again, apologies that we've seen no signings, apologies that we haven't had any interview information. What I can say to you, because usually as we roll and availability is there today, if the interview comes out at any time before our evening show, and we seem as though there's something that we need to put out there to the fans, where there could be a potential of an extra show being added somewhere during the day. I'm not saying it will, I'm just saying there's a potential. I just wanted to put out virtually our last link, if you like, and it's about the foundation that's going on. I think it's something that we shouldn't obviously just put out of the window. So as you can see here, it was all smalls all around for 120 children at our annual 1892 Cup. Pupils who engaged with the foundation joined the event, and each child was receiving a brand new 24-25 Newcastle kit to wear during the Cup and take home as a memento of the day. So there's a lot of people that joined in with this, and it looks like everybody had an amazing day. So well done to all those
nice
youngsters.
Action that the young kid on the bottom left there.
This one here, he's got a cracking
action, bit balance there.
Yeah, you know who Dex would say he is though. He'd say he's Real Fox because he's so mad keen on Real Fox. Yeah, but like I say, he's got some cracking action going on there. Nice to see the girls and a mixed group, to be fair. So I'm hoping we've got some young toon players coming our way in the very near future. So well done to all those that took part, and I hope you all had a fantastic day. So that's it, really. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to everybody that watched. Like I say, apologies that we haven't come roaring your way with a lot of news. Like I say, we can only present you the news that's available. Watch this space. Again, like I say, we may come on board with another little show. If not, we'll see you tonight. Well, I may not see you tonight, but you will, won't you? What's the show tonight, Whit?
It's American Magnet. Thank you, Trolls. Thank you, John.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Thank you. So was another one somewhere, wasn't there? Yeah. Oh, Mighty Mark, 5 months. Well done.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, them are all the lads that have joined. Oh,
and Ian Fleming, 5 months.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
So, yeah, Key 88. Sorry, mate. I've just been scrolling down and I've seen this. Just join, lads. Your mate Martin from City said on his show last night that they will make an offer for Bruno and he wants to go. Your thoughts?
Well, I'll believe it when I see it.
And me.
That's it.
Listen, like I said,
if Man City come calling, first of all, they'll have to pay what Owen, because we know that PIF are brilliant negotiators. So if Bruno goes, he will be leaving for 100 plus. No doubt about that in my mind at all. And if City want to pay 100 and Bruno wants to go to City, you couldn't really blame him.
No.
You know, they aren't Real Madrid, but they're the nearest you're going to get to them right at this moment in time.
At the moment in time,
you're virtually
absolutely
guaranteed to win stuff. He'll be in the spotlight for Brazil. He'd obviously look great in a great team. So if he wants to go, he goes. Out of the three jewels that we have in our crown at the moment, Isaac, Bruno, and Gordon. Bruno is probably the one that I would feel most comfortable about replacing. Bearing in mind we would have 100 plus million to do it with.
Yeah.
The position he plays, there are a lot of players that can do it. Forwards, being an effective forward in the Premiership is a lot more difficult than being a midfielder or a defender, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Are we going to get somebody that's as good as Bruno? That would have to be proven. You would only know when he played umpteen games for us. But the one thing you get with Bruno is, bear in mind, he only missed out of every competitive game, Bruno only missed one. And that was because he was suspended.
Yeah.
So availability, the best ability, and he is always available and he always puts in a shift. Not always a 9 out of 10 shift, but certainly always 7 plus.
Absolutely.
So to find somebody of that caliber, obviously you've got to pay over 100 mil. You know, Caicedo went for that. Rice went for that. I can't see Bruno going for less than Rice or Caicedo went for that. So Caicedo was 115, or was it
15,
Enzo
yeah.
that was 115? Caicedo 106. I'm not too sure, but certainly I would be expecting a minimum 110, which allegedly is what Rice went for.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put the memberships that just so everybody knows, or you can see all the memberships there. So they're on the screen now, guys. I have got a couple of questions to finish the show on. Because I don't want to miss out on anything. So apologies again if I haven't shown everything on the screen. Thanks to everybody in the background, though. Appreciate it. And your comments are always welcome and appreciated. And I love the fact that you guys are enjoying mine and Mighty Wind's show. So it's, like I say, we're only here for the fans, and we'll bring you what we know as we know it.
I'm only here for the beer.
Well, I know you are, buddy, and I don't blame you. So I'm going to start just looking at one or two of these questions. And Ryan's come in with a question here. Look, why do people seem to think we are going to get big signings? I watched Mitchell. He said he would find the players who best suit the system, not sign marquee players. Sometimes fans read what they want. And that's what I was saying. I honestly believe there's going to be a signing that nobody's heard of before, or maybe heard of, because, you know, there's a lot of lads out there like Foxy and our Steve, who, and even Josh, who watches a lot of the European leagues. I unfortunately don't, because I just don't have time to watch all the football out there, not with having the family and everything else. So, and especially my career that's potentially coming to an end now. So I don't have a lot of time, or had a lot of time. It may change. I mean, I may take a bit more of an interest now. I'm a member of this great channel, and I've been welcomed on board by Win and Chris. And hopefully now you'll still see a lot more of me. So from the way I look at it, is there is every chance of us getting a Mark C signing, because we don't know what was in the pipeline originally. I also believe now, with the likes of Chiesa and things like that, now we've got Bunce on board, we'll probably get a little bit more of an idea of how the injuries or any injury concerns that were potentially there originally can be ironed out. So it could be just simple things. When these guys now come for medicals with Buncey on board, there may be a lot more thorough in the signings before it's a done deal. It wouldn't surprise me whether we go in for Chiesa for the money, because like Win said, it's a gamble, because it's a cheap gamble. And the one thing I look at is if they're going to gamble on the likes of Chiesa, then I would like to see another player coming in just to support that role, because I think if we rely on Murphy for a lot of the games, like I say, I don't doubt his ability, because I know the type of ability he's got, but I just don't think he is the end product that we are looking for in the right side of midfield. Even though he scores goals, I don't think he contributes to the next level. Well, it's more the fact that we need to start spreading the goals around. I think sometimes we rely far too heavily on Isaac. We've relied far too much on Gordon last year for goals, and we didn't really have much of a contribution from the right wing. I know, like I say,
to be fair, we did. We scored 8 in the Premiership. We scored 85 goals, and Isaac only got 21 of them. So we've got plenty of goals. A lot of people are arguing that we shouldn't be concentrating on attack. We should be concentrating on defence, because we haven't had a problem scoring goals. What I say is that those 85 goals were scored. If you take away the 4s and the 5s that we got, it's in the other games when we couldn't score against low block defences. Yeah, Luton's, yeah, Bournemouth, yeah, Nottingham Forests. That's where we need quality footballers to score just one goal that wins with a game. Not the 8 against, or the 13, in fact, against Sheffield. or the fives that were put against Brentford and so on and so forth. It's the other ones. It's those games that were lost 1-0
So
or drew 0-0.
Here we go then, right? So you've just made a comment there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up on the screen now who scored.
You're frozen, Gary.
This gives us absolutely everything that you can see now. Like you're absolutely bang on when you were saying about Isaac with the contributions. So 25, 6 penalties. Then Anthony Gordon with 12, Callum Wilson with 10. And like I said, you're not going to get much more with Callum Wilson. Now, our closest right winger, was Miggy with 5. Now,
and that was in a bad season.
That's what I'm saying. That's a bad season. So I understand where you're coming from. And then our second right winger was Murphy with 3. So you're absolutely right. And as you can see, we have got scorers from virtually every single position. And the only people that didn't score, which was obviously Elliot Anderson, who obviously we've now sold. And it's a shame because I would have loved to see Elliot Anderson at least break his duck for us. And I can't really say anything more about Harrison Ashby or Turner Cook, to be fair, because they didn't really have that much time to contribute. But what I'm trying to say to you, buddy, would you class, say 8 goals from a right-sided attacking force is enough to quantify? Now, if you look at the likes of Harvey Barnes got 5, yeah, and he only
that was in what, 10 games or something?
It's something crazy. It wasn't a lot. So when you look at contribution of 17 actual goals for the left-sided, and we only got 8 on the right side. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that they didn't contribute. What I'm saying is I would love to see a higher contribution from the right side, because what that gives you then is that stability, because you're not just relying on a certain source.
I mean, you're preaching to the converted. That's what I'm saying. For me, our priority should be a right winger.
Yeah. As I said, I totally agree, but it has to be the right winger.
Backup striker. I would love to keep Callum. I would love to keep Callum.
Absolutely.
As you see from there, despite all his injuries, still got 9 goals, and you will get that because the man is quality.
Yeah.
You're not going to. If we get 20 million for him, let's say, you're not going to buy a guaranteed 9-goal a season Premiership player for 20 grand. You just don't.
No. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you people, I think, sometimes bite off the hand that feeds them, don't they? You look at, like you say, what we've got already at the club, and now I can understand when you see this year in, year out, why Heady is always favoured Wilson to stay, because he does score the goals that we so heavily rely on. The money you're going to get for Wilson, and don't get me wrong, I can't see us getting anything near the 20 million that people are expecting us to get.
Well, I certainly wouldn't consider selling him for any less than that.
But that's what I'm saying. To get rid of him for his injury proneness and his length of contract, are we talking about Chiesa here, who is obviously 6 years his junior? Are we paying only 20? So how can you expect 20 for Wilson?
But the reason I'm saying you go for Chiesa is because he's only 20. If you were talking 40 for Chiesa, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say no.
Yeah.
I would rather put that 40 towards a 70, towards a Nico Williams or something like that. I mean, I'm biting this guy there. But certainly Barcelona ex-Leeds, but Raphinha.
Yeah.
You could probably get Raphinha for 70 million and give me a choice between 40 million for Chiesa and 70 million for Raphinha, and it's Raphinha all day.
Yeah. But Raphinha refused the wages.
I'm just confident in the backstage staff that we have now, they will do the job. I've got no doubt at all about it. And that's regardless who happens to be the coach.
You see, I know it sounds crazy, but I've never been one for sell. Not at this present moment in time, because I still don't think, and I've said it over and over again, for us to move forward, we haven't got a depth of squad strong enough or big enough to support every single competition. So I understand if the likes of Almiron stays, if the likes of Wilson stays, if the likes of Trippier stays. There's been a lot of talk about Trippier going. For me, you know, for that stability, for that mentorship, because I still think there's a lot of mentoring in the likes of Trippier that can give us that momentum going forward. Does he have to start every match? Well, no, I don't think he does now. I think we've got a really great young understudy, and that, you know, that's what worries me about Hall over the other side. We started to see the best of Hall at the end of last year because we had, with our injury crisis, we had nobody to step in. Now all of a sudden, you know, we have got that choice. Everyone happy to keep Wilson now, but when he gets injured twice in August, they'll be wanting to sell him in January. Yeah, that's fair comment. But like I said, I just hope
until Isaac gets injured in November.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Because again, I worry about Isaac being made of glass.
Well, is it because we're overplaying them though? Like I said last year when we needed to.
Yeah, that to me is the litmus test for Eddie this season is using his squad.
Josh made a good comment here. Look, how could DCL command 30 million and Wilson not break 20? Listen, I can't fault you. I'm just saying you won't get another player for what you get for Wilson. You will not replace like for like. That's all I'm saying for the same money.
Well, I think the point Josh is making there is you're saying we wouldn't get 20 million for Wilson.
I don't think you would. I don't think you would. No, not to sell him quickly. If you wanted to hang on and barter, you know what I mean. I'm not saying like say January. There may be a crisis in another club where they'll come in and offer you. I think
if Wilson's going, Wilson will be going because somebody wants him for as one of their summer signings.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If somebody comes in,
it'd be a fantastic signing for somebody.
But all I'm saying to you is
why I want to keep him.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, if there was that much interest, we'd have known about it by now. And there's not that much interest. You know, there's been talk about West Ham, and we've had Daniela on here, who's a massive West Ham fan.
And obviously Saudi is the other.
And Saudi was the other option, wasn't it? With same as Miggy. But that's what I'm saying. For the certain individuals that people keep on saying, we need to sell, you've got to have the interest from the outside. And that's what I'm saying. The only way you're going to engage other clubs in these players is to lower your price. Hence Chiesa and Juve. The only reasons why everybody's interested in Chiesa all of a sudden is because he's so cheap. And that's what you'd have to do.
Again, that's not true. A lot of people have been interested in Chiesa.
Yeah, but when you say a lot of people... Well, when you say a lot of people, there's been very few actually put a hard bid in for him. Or yes, they've approached the club about availability because obviously Juve and his agent had made it common knowledge that he's got to find another club, and that's what I'm saying. There's a difference in the way that clubs approach these things, but to get the amount of clubs that want to come and approach him, they've made him available at a very, very low price, like you say, compared to where he was originally. There was another one that I was going to have a quick look at before we go. John, I also want to keep Wilson, but then we have to have a 3 striker due to all of the injuries with Wilson has. Suddenly he's
definitely a third striker, and not just Wilson, because Isaac will get injured.
Like we've just said. Yeah, exactly. So it's really weird because, like I say, we're all on the same framework. Every single fan out there is on the same framework. Yes, we'll keep Wilson, but we still need a backup for both, our 2 strikers, because we saw when we really needed Wilson last year, towards the end of the season, he gets injured and he's out for a few games that we didn't expect him to be out for, which I believe crippled us.
This is why I'm still just secretly holding on and hoping that we'll get Jared Bourne. because he
Uh,
is the perfect. And if we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
get Jared Bowen, the club have never mentioned Mbeumo. Bowen
no,
or Mbeumo, I think
but
for
that's
the
why I
right.
wouldn't rule it out.
And for example, here's a scenario, right? Let's say if Mark from Mancunian Way is right, and City put 100
Martin.
million, Martin, sorry,
Yeah.
100 million pound plus for Bruno, and they get him. Then we can use that to just go and get Bowen
Yeah.
from West Ham.
Well,
Straight
absolutely.
swap.
I-
That's
straight.
effectively a straight swap. And then we've still got the whole of our transfer budget still. And then all we need then is a reserve striker and maybe a couple of midfielders, a first team ready one, and a backup to replace Anderson. It solves a lot of problems if that were to happen. And
Yeah,
I don't think the side would be, fatally depleted because Bruno went.
So PDK saying, welcome, mate, because I haven't seen you in the chat before. So you're great to be on the show. It's really lovely to see you. When has Bowen been mentioned? So
He hasn't been mentioned by the club. That's the point.
Nothing.
And that's, I would say, and that would be typical Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we said.
But
You haven't heard about Mbeumo. You haven't heard about...
You'll hear nothing till he's having his medical. And somebody
Exactly.
sees him getting out of a taxi or something.
You see, I think it's less... There's less chance of him coming to Newcastle because of his links to West Ham and his father-in-law. And
everybody's saying,
But,
Danny Boyle and Danny Boyle.
Not Danny Boyle, Danny Dyer.
Danny Dyer, aye.
Yeah, so
with a Y or with an I.
Yeah, exactly. You have got to look at it from the fact that he settled in West Ham. He signed a 7-year contract that takes him to 2030. Yeah. His wife, his family, blah blah blah. I know.
Money
Don't say that to Chris though. Don't say that to
talk.
Chris because that means totally different to Chris. You know that. So yeah, I know, mate, and I understand that because contracts aren't worth the paper they're written on these days, and they're not. Because if the right money's put down, there's always the chance. And that's what I said about Bruno when Martin made the comment about Man City are still out there potentially bringing in an offer for Bruno. I said a long time ago that my worry would be is when his clause ends, because you can come in with something totally different then. And Man City have got the depth of squad where they can come in with a really crazy bid, say 80 million, and also give us a player or give us 2 players to make it even sweeter deal. So I would never ever rule it out until the transfer window ends, because you can't change anything else. Exactly. So guys, we've got over 2 hours. Again, we've tried to fill in the void to try and see if there's anything comes up with this interview. So I do thank you all for, I suppose, watching us dribble on a bit and try and create a subject that's just not out there at the moment. So like I say, I can do nothing but thank you all. If we see anything, like I said, we may do a special. If not, we'll talk about it on tonight's show. So keep your eyes open for the American mags, because I'm sure they'll do a lot of work on the subject there regarding Eddie Howe. Is he staying? Is he going? We still don't know.
And so on that bombshell?
Yeah, it's a goodbye from me, and it's a goodbye
from him.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, we'll see you tonight. 11 o'clock, isn't it, the American mags, if anybody's interested?
Yes.
And I believe ours reverts back to 9. So if anybody wants to tune in to the Geordies, I believe it's still, because it was set out at 10 o'clock because we were clashing with the Euros. I believe we're back at 9. But please, if you subscribe, hit the bell, any notifications, you will know exactly when we're coming. So again, thank you all. See you on the next one.